You're listening to the 4-Phase Cycle podcast with your hosts, Dr. Alex and Megan of ZESTY Ginger. If you're looking to naturally balance hormones and learn how to work with your body instead of against it, you've definitely come to the right place. As a duo of an integrative MD and a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and best friends, we use the 4 phases of the female cycle in combination with functional lab work and mindset practices to transform the lives of the women we work with.
We also have a whole lot of fun along the way. If you're new around here, it's best to start with season 1 before jumping around and plan to roll up your sleeves. Showing up for ourselves and enjoying our lives is what good health is all about. Just a quick reminder though, this information is not intended to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor before making changes.
Hello. Dr. Alex here with you today. I hope that you're having a fabulous day, night, wherever you are when you're listening to this. Welcome. Super glad that you're here. We're going to talk about emotions when it comes to acting as if when we are creating something, co-creating something. This one is a biggie. This one is a really, really big deal. It took me years to finally get this, and I'm still seeing the ripple effects of having this realization. It's been a game changer, so definitely stick around. Before we get to that, though, we are coming up to our free life challenge starting. Okay, it starts Monday, so you only have a couple more days to get enrolled, and you'll want to bring some friends because you get more entries into the $1,000 cash prize for the winner of the challenge when you bring friends. So the link to get signed up is zestyginger.com/habit, and the link is down below. When you have friends sign up with you, just shoot us an email with their first name and the email that they used to sign up so that we know to credit you. Okay? The live challenge is about brain health, but it's really the interface of why do we behave the way that we do based off of who we are. And that who we are is made up from all of what makes you you. And when we think about that as the starting point, as the root cause, and then we allow that to unfold and unravel the actions that we take, the habitual ways we think, feel, and experience life, things flow so much quicker and easier. And here's the kicker, it lasts longer. It's kind of funny that people a lot of times think that anything that works quickly will also run out quickly. But when it comes to the brain, the way that the brain is prioritizing identity and using that to inform how we act and feel and think on a daily basis, that is actually the fastest, most straightforward path to changing what happens. And when we do that, it's hardwired into the brain. That's what causes it to stick around. It works. It worked out so well for us. Like that is, there's a lot of wonky things in this world, but that reality that our brain has right there of when we truly work from that level, because the thing is we do what we are, right? If you're a clean person, I could go to your house, your car, your work, and overall I would get that vibe, right? Like I mean I have my messy chair, same as you, but like overall that would be a thing. If you think that, if you're like I'm always late, chances are if we're meeting up, you're going to be running a few minutes late. Like we do the things that we are, and that's why focusing on the identity and understanding how to work with your own brain on that is the fastest way to do it, and it sticks around. Thank goodness it works like that. I'm so happy that that's like the the planet staying in orbit level type of accomplishment. I think that's amazing. So do not miss the opportunity. We're going to do the challenge again in the fall, but obviously it's going to be a little while. There's no way. I know you don't want to wait 6 months to get ahead of this, right? So whatever you have going on, whether you are dealing with trauma, whether you're dealing with limited kind of emotions and mindset things that are you feel really stuck, Or if you have been mucking around with the action items, the diet, the movement, the food, the sleep, the alcohol, the sugar, if you've been at that a while and it's not where you want it to be, it's time to try a new strategy. So for those two groups of people, this challenge is definitely, definitely, definitely for you. Okay. And I know that that also catches all of our entrepreneurs and all of our health coaches and all of our teachers, clinic runners. We have amazing people in this community. We know that you're doing some really great things. You being in your power, in your identity, is how we make the biggest impact. So come join us, zestyginger.com/habit. Like I said, it starts on Monday and it goes from Monday through Thursday. We'll be live with you every single day. And there'll be replays, so don't worry about catching it live if you can't. All right, so that's the deal with that. Let's come back to acting as if. This one is, again, where I deviate a smidge from the usual narrative, though not really. And here's why it took me so long to figure this out. A lot of times people, when we're talking about becoming a new identity, right? That's manifestation or that's hustling. It doesn't matter what you call it, but generally that's the process of changing who we are, right? A lot of what we are told that it works like, and I agree with the brain. This was on Wednesday's podcast episode 2, so check that. I'm not going to repeat everything here, but that is how it works at the brain level, is when we are looking at where we're going and acting as if, from that identity, it helps our brain reinforce who we are becoming. And there's a million and 10 ways to do that, and some of them are more effective than others. That's what we're going to be teaching in the challenge. That's what we do in our Health Transformation Accelerator program, but that is the goal. Now, here's why I think that there's some fine tuning that we can do when it comes to emotions around this. Because a lot of people will say, you want to visualize yourself living what you want to have, right? So if we want to be healthy, visualizing yourself as healthy and acting from that place, right? Whether you want to be more peaceful, no matter what's going on, we're acting as if we're already, have that outcome and doing the best we can there. That's all gravy. I think that that's a fantastic approach. The difference, though, is a lot of times where people go, and I was the exact same way, is that I would think about the first second I realized that I had that goal, right? That was my act as if. My act as if was like, yeah, I reached it, and I'd be really excited and happy, right? And so I'd visualize, or I'd be living life and I'm like, thinking and imagining how great it would be, and I'm focusing on how exciting it would be and how great it would feel and how lovely it would be to tell everyone that I knew, and how much I would jump up and down and feel that like love in my chest and all of that. And that's cool. That's a great. I mean, being in those vibes is a phenomenal place to be. And I think on some topics, we really have the capacity to get there quite quickly. But what I found is that sometimes there is too big of a discrepancy between, the thing that I had a lot of fear and doubt and resistance around. While I'm visualizing, I can get myself, oh, yay, that's great, I'll get it. And then the rest of the time, I was kind of walking around like, well, I don't really know, right? I'm doubting, I'm in my fear. And so I think it was the discrepancy between those two that was setting up the scenario where I was like, but I'm literally doing the stuff, right? Like when I'm practicing, which is I love visualization and guided practice and all of that for the brain. That's a way to fast track it. But I was like, it's something's not adding up. And what I realized was that with things like health or relationships and even businesses, right? We want to have these like big launches or a big book release. The thing is, after that initial event, when you're living your life as a healthy person, you are not like on cloud nine all the time. right? And I think that that's where there's a disconnect of authenticity, because the expectation of practicing the feeling of you just, accomplish the goal and how happy you would be there, to sustain that as you go throughout your day. Many of us, well, on things that we, are have life experiences around that were negative, we have some hangups around there. Therefore, the difference feels like a really big drop. And then that discrepancy is really, it shows us where the inauthenticity kind of lies, right? Because there's such a big difference between the two. However, when I thought about it, of like, past the point where I reach the goal, where I'm already like, it happened and I'm chill about it, from that standpoint, you kind of take things as a given, right? You're at peace with it. You're at, like me 3 years ago when it came to health, I was imagining like being so excited about being healthy, but now I wake up feeling good every day. That it's not to say that I'm not grateful for that, because I do, I do gratitude journaling twice a day for that, and that's one thing that I always take note of, and I am very grateful. So yes, I'm grateful, but it's not that feeling of like I'm jumping out of bed and like, oh, thank God the birds are singing and they're chirping and like the sun's out. You know what I mean? Like at this point, then you go on to the next thing. There's not necessarily, that's not bad, right? Because if all you did all day was run around and be happy with all the stuff you already had, um, you would just be more there, and that can all be great stuff. But a lot of us want to like do the next thing and go to the right. Like you have the kid, and then the kid grows up. Then what are you gonna do? And that's kind of how life goes. Therefore, there is a component of you get used to having what you have, and that's a springboard with gratitude to go on to the next thing. But once you have it and you're living it, you're probably not like constantly over the moon about it at every single moment of the day. I hope that's making sense. There, it's not to say that good emotions aren't, because if you can access the great emotions around it and there's no problem there, then you have no problem. Then this conversation doesn't apply to you. But if you are noticing like it's not moving forward, then this is where the troubleshooting happens. And so try it out. Try out the approach of, if I'm 3 years past my goal, right? Maybe you want to have a job or you want to have a great launch. In 3 years from now, after that great launch, when your business is doing better and better and better, you're not thinking about that old launch. You are just on to that's where you are. That's your new level. And you operate from that level. And some days are good, some days are not as good, and all of that, right? It becomes more or less kind of peaceful, neutral well beingness rather than this crazy over the moon excitement. So, check in with yourself on those things. Where's the authenticity factor? When you are visualizing, when you are meditating on, when you are kind of just daydreaming and you're marinating in your mind and helping your brain rewire where you're going, play around with it. Maybe it's not that exuberance that we're needing to get to, but just that peaceful knowing of like, yeah, I got that. Things are good. What else? I like, what am I gonna eat for lunch? You would, that's how you'd react, right? Now, if someone stopped you and said, "Hey, what does your health mean to you?" Of course, you'd go, have a lot of gratitude, you have a lot of emotions around it, but you wouldn't live that way most likely. You wouldn't spend all day thinking about it because you already got it. It already is there. It's just who you are. It's just part of your life. Play around with that, because A, that's a lot easier to get to, and B, in my opinion, more truthful. And anytime that the brain is like, yep, this is in line, it's not going to kick up a lot of the resistance. It's not going to fight you on it. It's not going to kick up all of the fears to let you know, like, hey, we don't believe that, right? Go to neutrality. Go to sort of, this is how it is. I'm years past this goal. See how that feels, and then play around with that and look at the results.
Thanks for coming out to hang with us on the podcast. It is our goal to transform the way women are treated in healthcare. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. We have a lofty goal of 1 million downloads. And we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more women, get more amazing speakers for you, and bring the most cutting-edge information.
If you found these podclasses helpful, please take a moment to text 5 women you know the link to the series. We appreciate your help so much. Can't wait to see you next time.